And of course, I had prepared really long notes, and I actually had a quote from someone from another country talking about what dialogue is, and I'm going to read one passage. But before I do that, just two things. One, I have to thank and acknowledge important people in my life, people that have helped me to be an early childhood educator and to also develop my potential as a person, as a human being. And so I'd like to thank first Krista Young. Krista's over there. She's the senior educator at Owl at the Barn. And I also see Donka is here. And so thank you, Donka. And then Sherry, June, and Andy and I all work as a team at Owl at the Barn, and it's an amazing team to work with. One of the things that Krista and the rest of the team have taught me since my days in policy and as a college instructor in early childhood education is how to stop speaking Martian. And to start speaking in terms that people could understand. So it's a struggle sometimes. My talk was going to be all in Martian because I thought after hearing all these other talks you could use the chances to sort of doze off and imagine you're in a big lecture hall. But I'll spare you that because in addition to Krista as an amazing inspiration for how to reach out and connect with people, I'd also want to acknowledge Tara Mahoney, who with Gen Y, media has done an amazing job of demonstrating how we can communicate. And this format here is a format that I learned from Tara and her colleague Fiona, who work on Gen Y, this idea to have dialogue. And so what I want to do is just end today talking about two things. First, dialogue, and second, power. And between those is transformation. When we talk about places like Reggio that inspire us, and we hear from people in Reggio who say, please don't copy what we're doing, instead join us in a movement, be inspired together in a movement. And we hear what Tara said today about this idea that we're a part of a broader movement. What are we talking about? Like, what is that movement? Well, it's a long, deep, important movement in our history as human beings. It's the same movement that ended slavery, institutionalized slavery. It's the same movement that made an end to segregation and apartheid in countries like South Africa and the United States, my home country. It's the same movement that has advanced women's equality to this point. It's all of those movements. It's the movements that are why we have universal public health care in Canada. It's movements that why we have old age security in Canada and other countries. All of these movements are connected by the idea that dignity, human dignity, is sacred and it cannot be taken away. Because what human dignity is it's our power as human beings. If you want to think what dignity is, it's look in a mirror, and there you'll see it. Now, we talked a lot about leaders, and you know, I could say I look out and I see a lot of leaders here, but actually I don't see a lot of leaders here. What I see is a room full of human beings, of people. And people lead. That's what we do. We lead from the time we are born, and we lead all through our lives. And the only time we don't lead is when someone's pushing us down, and that's usually through fear and false scarcity. That's when we're not leading. That process of being pushed down and being afraid, that is dehumanization. And it takes away from us what we are all entitled to, which is to be treated with dignity as sacred people. Now, we know this because we work with young children, and our job as early childhood educators is to create sacred spaces for children's dignity to be respected. And yet, we also know this because outside those spaces, we are not being respected. Our dignity is being extinguished by systems of control, by systems of fear, by social structures that want to take from us what is ours: dignity, respect, shared responsibility, and community life. We work really hard to create those sacred spaces with the children who we work with. And we can do the same and create the same spaces by extending them and expanding them to everyone, everywhere, including ourselves. I just want to end with a few key ideas. because I think these ideas are important. The first idea is that why dialogue matters. And Tara just told it to me as she was leaving the first discussion. And this is much more simple than what I thought I would say, which is that when you're in a dialogue, you're learning while you're talking. That's what a dialogue is. And you can transform that by sharing the dialogue through things like writing it down, taking videos, reflecting on it. What we're doing today. There's a video camera back there, it's recording what we're talking about. We had a video here, we're sharing this, we're all gonna go out. But what's happening is as we talk, as we share with each other as human beings, our power is expanding. We're becoming more powerful. Every person here is more powerful because of the 4 hours that you contributed to this effort, all of us. And we'll be even more powerful when we go out and we share that power with others. The power is in the form of new ideas. It's in the form of thinking of ourselves in different ways. It's in the form of knowing our worth and sharing our value and expecting to be treated with respect. So that's the second concept, respect. Respect is the recognition of another person's human power. So if you're not being respected, that's because someone isn't recognizing you as a human being. They're not recognizing your human dignity. They're denying you your dignity, which means that they're dehumanizing you. And it's usually through fear and control that that's done. That's what's happening. And the third concept is that it's what links these. So we have a dialogue, which is this process of transformation. And then within dialogue is respect, because we have to recognize each other's power as we change each other, as we learn through talking, as we become something different, something bigger. And the last part of that is action. This is action. What we did today is action. We've all changed. We're all more powerful. But it's not enough action. Because when we go back to our work sites on Monday, when we go back there, the whole structure around us is not recognizing our power. It's not treating us with respect. And we need to build more power, enough power, together, collectively, just like all of the speakers today talked about, as a community. We need to build enough power that those systems change and that our work is respected for the value that we are, not just as early childhood educators, but as human beings. And quite frankly, most of the folks in this room, and I'm really honored to be amongst you, are women. And so we cannot escape that truth, which is that part of the disrespect of low wages and inadequate resources for our sector as a whole stems from a belief that as women, your work is worthless, which essentially is saying that you're worthless, which isn't true and cannot be tolerated and must be stopped. And we will do that by working together in action. So I want to thank you for coming today.